Hello, I'm Steve Conover, Executive Vice President and VP of Media Ministries. This is Israel at War. With me today is our Director of Ministry Support of the Friends of Israel, Amy Hansen. We're discussing the humanitarian need in Israel and how your gifts are making a difference in the lives of Israelis. Your financial support is actually saving Israeli lives. Amy, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Now, I get the joy of working with you here at the Friends of Israel, and I get to hear a lot of the stories that come out of your department. But some people may not even know what ministry support is. What do you do as the director?
Sure. So I've been with the Friends of Israel for about 6 years. And in my role as Director of Ministry Support, I do some fundraising, but I also administer the relief funds of Friends of Israel. So namely the Israel Relief Fund, the Aliyah Return Fund, and some other smaller funds within that. So the Israel Relief Fund really exists, though. It started about 10 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, to specifically bring humanitarian aid into Israel in response to things like missiles falling, medical needs, food needs, that kind of thing.
So the gifts that have been coming in so graciously from our donors, how are they making a difference?
Yeah, they're making a huge difference. Well, in the last 10 years, we've installed 68 bomb shelters in Israel, and they really became of critical use in this time when more than 9,000 missiles have fallen in Israel. On October 8th, we installed 2 bomb shelters at a school in southern Israel, an agricultural high school, where kids go to learn how to farm. And they had no bomb shelters. And at 8:30 in the morning, we installed those bomb shelters. And by 12 noon, rockets were falling on the school. So I received a call from the executive director that just said thank you, because they had no protection before. Kids were scared to come to the school, and now they've got protection out in the field.
Yeah, so many of us in the community, the Christian community that supports Israel, has been moved to act, not just to feel, but to act. And that's what we're seeing. What are some of the most special stories that you've heard coming out of the response?
There's so many. At first, we heard a lot of stories of terror and the horrible things that happened, but we're really starting to hear incredible stories of miracles and just incredible things happening. One of the things that comes to mind is the blood center that you and I have visited before in Israel. So Israel took about 10 years to develop a big central blood bank that will house all of their blood supply for the entire country. And so they've been working on this for probably about a decade. And on October 6th, they were moving blood from all the outlying areas into this central center. And I was told that on October 7th, they completed that. So just as this was happening. So they really, I think it was a godly miracle. I really do. Because when we saw it this summer, they were a little ways from being able to actually process and house blood.
Yeah, it was really providential to see how that was completed just in time.
Yeah.
Just amazing. And it shows their love of life. I mean, on one side, after October 7th, on Israel's side, you just saw droves of people in line to give blood. And on the other side, unfortunately, the celebration of torture and mass murder.
Yeah.
So it just shows the Israeli love for life. But these stories are exciting, but there's still a great need, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's still rockets falling on Israel today. We're working with our partners on the ground to get more bomb shelters installed and manufactured. Actually, we're installing the bomb shelters. They haven't even been painted. They go out with no paint because the paint takes too long to dry. So we're installing these they look like they just came out of a plant because they did just come out of the factory and are being installed. So we're working with that. We're also supplying medical supplies to Magen David Adom, who is like the equivalent of the American Red Cross in Israel. We supply their ambulances with medical supplies. It costs about $1,000 to stock an ambulance. So we are continuing to monitor what their needs are and send funds as they need it. Food is a big thing right now in Israel. Nobody wants to go out in the fields and pick produce, and it's harvest time. It's one of the harvest times in Israel. And so that's going to become a real emergency, I think. They're bringing in a lot more food from outside of the country, but also just getting food to people who need it, who are either scared to go out or are displaced and not living where they were living before. There's about 200,000 people that are displaced. And then there's a lot of people who are out of work because tourism has stopped and there's no work. So there's going to be a lot of food needs. There already are a lot of food needs. Additionally, these are all people who are experiencing trauma now. It's not post-trauma. It's current trauma. And so people need counseling. They need help. The spiritual and emotional needs in Israel are going to be long-term and extensive.
Yeah, we are, as we said, we're excited and thankful to see how people are responding, how God is providentially working to protect Israel, but the need is still incredibly great. And my question, I guess, as we close would be, what can someone do that's watching that they're a Christian, they want to support Israel anywhere in the world? What should they be considering right now that is their obligation?
First and foremost, and the request that I've gotten from Israel is to pray. We really need prayer warriors right now. This is more than just a physical battle. It's a spiritual battle. So praying for those people who are traumatized and displaced and orphaned. Prayer is the number one thing anybody can be doing right now. After that, I would say give. Give the best you can, because the need is great now, and it's going to be long-term need.
Yeah, that's great. And where could they go?
Sure, they can go to foi.org and they can give at Stand With Israel. And Stand With Israel will direct those funds to where it's absolutely needed most in the Holy Land right now.
That's great. And we'll give that URL again. Thank you so much for being with us, Amy.
Thanks for having me.
And if you want to stand with Israel and bring comfort to the Jewish people, you can donate at foi.org/Stand With Israel. Use the link in the description to make a much-needed gift.